Nintendo, I would love Wind Waker for the Switch. I know you're not listening. I know you don't care. You know, actually, that's worse. I know they're listening. I know they've heard me. They just simply don't care.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And to celebrate the New Year, have you ever heard that Halsey song that goes, everything is gray? That's how I feel.
We've been talking about this for 10 minutes.
Blake and I have a lot of changes that are happening. So stay tuned for this podcast to find out. We won't announce to the end, but one of those changes is that apparently we don't have green screens anymore. Yeah. Suggested by me, my own suggestion.
I thought we were going to do it at the beginning, but I guess we're going to do it at the end. It's up to you.
Oh, we got to make him stay and wait for it.
Yeah, you guys got to wait for it.
I already hate this because I'm zoomed in and I'm too zoomed in. I look awful. All right, this is great. We're off to a great start. My room is gray, and I despise gray. Gray is my least favorite color. It's not.
Oh, we lost her. She froze.
Barely a color. Everything. Great, awesome. Love that for me. It's the gray. It's taking over. I quit. This is gonna be like a new segment of the podcast where you're gonna be Blake, and I'm just gonna be this Discord. Like nobody needs to see me. I don't need to be perceived. People don't need to perceive me.
Please.
Need to exist.
Please come back. I'm so lonely.
I hate it here. It's terrible. Anyway, this was my own suggestion, and when I suggested it, I forgot that my room was gray and white, and that it was not going to be exciting.
We just need to get you some pop back there. Things for the wall.
I thought you meant soda.
Okay.
For a brief moment.
Yeah, it's a soda. You're right. It's not a pop. It's a soda.
I mean, I use both interchangeably, but mostly pop. I live in the Midwest. We say when I was in college, I went to we had this mini little store where you could get one meal a day, and I went and I asked for a fountain pop, and he looked at me and he goes, "You mean a fountain soda?" I was like, "Excuse me, I'm in Michigan. I'm the one who's right here. You can argue with me about it all day, but you're the one in the wrong place for this argument. We're in Michigan. I win."
Okay, here's the other side of that. Regardless of where you are, it's a fountain drink. Who calls it a fountain pop or a fountain soda?
Me?
Oh.
Sometimes I want a fountain pop.
You're such a Midwesterner. Oh my God.
Why you gotta hate on me? This is better.
She's so fun. There is one change we were going to talk about. We talked about this a little bit. It's going to be a trial run. We're going to do short segments at the beginning of each podcast, talking about some recent news that may have come out in the space, which I pulled the topics because I don't think Emily pulled any topics, but that's totally fine. I have 2 topics.
Not gonna lie, completely forgot we were doing that. You said we're gonna have a new segment to the beginning of the show, and I got a little nervous.
First big piece of news. This one's old at this point because it's been a month because we haven't been on. Insomniac Games, obviously, huge ransomware attack. Early builds of Wolverine are now available to play if you know how to do all that. And people are like, this game looks like crap. Here's the thing. No, duh. It's early build. It doesn't come out for another 2 to 3 years. Of course it's going to look like crap right now. You know?
How you said, if you know how to do that. I know how to be a hacker? What are you asking?
There's a compiling tool. You have to know how to, when you download, you have to know how to compile it and get it to run. It's not just a double click and it just runs. There are things you have to have.
Well, I didn't know that. I'm not smart enough for that. That's not a me project. So I didn't see anything. There's not a lot by Insomniac I play. I actually don't know if there's anything by Insomniac I play.
You've never played Ratchet and Clank. You've never played the Spider-Man games yet.
No.
Did you? You never played Infamous?
No.
No. Infamous is. That is. I forgot. That is Insomniac.
I haven't played it.
This
Any
is
of
the
them.
only game. This was before Sony bought Insomniac. Well before Sony bought Insomniac. There was an Xbox exclusive for the Xbox One. It's the only Xbox game that I adore. It's called Sunset Overdrive and is one of my favorite games of all time. It's in my top 20, I would say. And I need them to bring it back and port it to PlayStation. Insomniac, I know you're not listening and I know you don't care. Bring me Sunset Overdrive, please.
That's I'm talking to Nintendo. Like Nintendo, I would love Wind Waker for the Switch. I know you're not listening. I know you don't care. You know, actually, that's worse. I know they're listening. I know they've heard me. They just simply don't care.
You're gonna.
They laugh at me.
I laugh at you because I have a feeling you're gonna get the news you want in 2024 and your draw is gonna drop. Then again,
I don't think I am.
The fact that you were never fully expecting Skyward Sword on Switch, I remember your reaction to that.
It was gonna be like a Mario, like how they had the 3-in-1. Mm-hmm. I thought that's what we were gonna get for Zelda, where it was gonna be like Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. Because that was before they, I think, did like the port or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they were like, we're remastering Skyward Sword. And I remember that announcement was like on my birthday, and I screamed so. You were live streaming it,
yes,
not on Twitch, but like in the Discord. And I just remember screaming so loudly. I was like, this is the greatest thing. I never hoped. I never even dared. I never dared to pray for it because people have pretended Skyward Sword didn't exist for the last 10 years. They tried to bury it in the garden and pretend they never made it. I never believed. And then that led me down a whole path of being convinced that they like had remade it, like brought it back because it was going to be a central part of Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
So clown face is all around. Clown face is all around.
They did it just so they can introduce Sky Islands and try to connect the story that they couldn't connect because they screwed up so much. But
I'm gonna call out Griffin McElroy right now for saying that Tears of the Kingdom has the best Zelda story of any Zelda game.
Okay, even I know that's nonsense.
He said that on his podcast the other day, and I was like, Griffin, sometimes Griffin and I are so in sync, and then sometimes he pulls phrases like that out of his like mind, and I'm like, what? Did we play the same video game?
But, I mean, Griffin McElroy said Persona 4 is a great game, and that means you need to go and play it.
But yeah, hope everyone's having a wonderful New Year.
She froze again. We lost her.
Yeah, we froze. I froze, and I was talking.
Yeah, I thought you were done.
Yeah, I don't know, man. What happened? What did I miss?
Well, I said Griffin McElroy also thinks Persona 4 is a great game, and so you should play it.
Yeah, that he does think that, but you know what? Can I trust his opinion?
Yes.
Is his opinion to be trusted? Because he thinks that Skyward Sword is a bad game, and that Tears of the Kingdom has the best story of any Zelda game.
Emily, he is Sprite Pepsi, and he is abstinent until he dies.
Yeah, you're right. I gotta trust in Sprite Pepsi. I gotta trust. Should we start our list?
Yeah, okay, so just so you guys know the topic, I don't think we ever talked about what the topic was going to be, but our topic is we have...
No, probably not. We've been really bad podcast hosts lately. We've done a really bad job lately.
Christmas time and Thanksgiving time was really rough for us. We're through it. We're done. We're okay. We have two lists. Each. Our favorite games from 2023, which I took that literally as things that came out in 2023. I think you didn't, but I don't know. You did not.
List of our top games that came out in 2023 that we played, I wouldn't have a list. I think I maybe played 3 games that were released this year. And I think unless I was just going to list all my indie horror games I played, I think I only played 3 games that came out this year. I was terrible.
Fair. And then our second list is things that we're most excited for to come out in 2024. I think our 2024 lists are going to overlap.
A little. I don't think they're going to overlap fully.
No. Oh, absolutely not.
I have some things on my list. Also, to mention the top 5 games of the year, I think it makes sense to do your 2023 games, but I feel like that would feel inaccurate for me because I know 99% of my gaming time this year. Well, I guess 80% of my gaming time this year was with games that were not made from 2023. So to say oh, this was one of my top 5 favorite games from 2023, and I played it for 4 hours, feels a little disingenuous.
One more thing. Can I
There.
tell the story about earlier today? How you answered, then you ignored me.
Oh, I didn't see you responded. What was your response?
Oh, so Emily, I'm doing a spoiler alert for what's coming from Bearded Blake Show. I'm doing something called the Platinum Gauntlet, both on Twitch and on YouTube. So be on the lookout for that. So I'm booting up my PS5 earlier, and I'm starting up Final Fantasy VII Remake again to get those trophies I missed. And I see Emily's
Sure.
online playing Dreamlight Valley, as Emily does very
I'm a
often.
simple girl. I'm a simple girl with simple taste.
And so I just messaged her on PlayStation, just the eyes, and she said wrong number. And so my immediate response was, "Is this the Krusty Krab?" And I got nothing back.
It wasn't. Wrong number, man. Go find someone else. I don't know what else you wanted from me.
I wanted you to respond with, "No, this is Patrick," but you didn't.
No,
so
this is Patrick.
I'm very upset.
That's
with
a
you.
lot of that's a lot of typing to do on the PlayStation controller.
Oh, it's easy. It's easy. Okay, hold on. I got one more bit of news, and then we'll jump to our list, because I forgot the last big news. Because this is actually the big news, and I don't know if you know about this.
Let's find out.
Have you heard about the MIG switch? MIG
The
switch.
Hoopst.
MIG MIG switch.
No.
So it is this flash cart that's been
Mega instant
no.
greatness.
I don't know
Switch.
what it stands for. It's created by a bunch of hackers. It is a switch.
Sure.
It's a switch cart. Like you put it in a game with an SD card in it to load up your backed up versions of your games, piracy, for like $65.
And why do I do this?
Oh, people do it all the time. People did it on the 3DS hardcore, where they would just download all the games they want instead of buying them and then playing them.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant they uploaded their own personal games.
Oh,
onto
that's
the
how they
SD.
promote it. That's how they promote it. That's not what people do, but that's how they promote it.
Oh. I don't fully get it. I guess I'm just stupid.
Well, yeah, because you don't pirate games. You don't steal games.
You're right, I don't. I'm not smart enough for it.
Whoa, hold on.
Just like when people like jailbreak their iPhones and like people can jailbreak their Switches. Nah, man.
I jailbroke my iPhone back in the first iPhone and the 3GS and the 4. I stopped after the 4 because I didn't have
That
to
was
anymore.
brave of you. Those things are a lot of money, and I feel like jailbreaking can break it real fast.
It's just software. So if something goes wrong, you just factory reset it. Nothing, no problems. You don't have to do anything.
well, maybe Emily was afraid to do that.
Oh, Bearded Blake was not afraid of messing around. I was a tinkerer. I had a problem.
That's true. I can hear whatever you're playing with. Is that your toy you made?
No, this is my Infinity Cube that our good friend Crazy G got me.
Aw.
And this is the toy I made. Now you'll be able to see it. It's a little, like... I 3D printed this just the other day. 3 pieces.
Oh, that's perfect
She's gone again.
for you. Froze again.
She's back.
I'm gonna quit podcasting.
No.
I'm gonna quit. Also, next time when we do this, I can't be this zoomed in. This is horrific.
You and I will sit down and fix this. But you can.
It's giving me crippling insecurities.
You saying you quit gives me PTSD because the only podcast I listened to last week after 83 episodes, one of the co-hosts is done. Like that was his last episode. He's moving on, and I'm like, shit.
He said 83 was the perfect amount. I'm done.
Or it was 82. It was 82 or 84 because it was an even number. Okay, besides the point. Yeah. So yeah, MIG Switch. It's a home brewing thing. You don't have to mod your Switch for it. It's for hackers. Whatever.
Well, I'm not a hacker, so why would you even tell me about it, Blake? What do you think? Who do you think I am?
The rest of the internet knows, and they're blowing.
Why are you giving the hackers more information? Why are you spreading hacking?
Emily.
On this podcast, we're gonna get shut down. Nintendo is already on their way to your house.
They're already on our way about our podcast name, probably at some point.
They're already banging down the door.
Is that the FBI?
It's Miyamoto, and he's here, and he says you can't do that, man.
Dude, Miyamoto's like in his 70s. I didn't realize that he was that old.
He looks timeless.
Dude, he does. I can't believe he's still going. I love that man.
We should start our list though.
Yes. Are we? Which one are we start? Yeah, we're obviously
I'd
starting.
say we do the 5 from this year and then move to the 5 next
Yeah,
year.
I'll let you start. Vaporwave.
Listen, I can't live with the gray. It's slowly killing me from the inside out. Every time I see myself on the camera, I want to die a little more.
I like the purple one. I like the purple one you did.
All
But
right,
that's
all
me.
right. I only have 5 choices.
Can you upload your own?
I can, but I stopped paying for Nitro because I was like, what is this even doing for me? And then I realized when I got rid of it, I was like, oh, turns out it was doing a significant amount. But things that I don't think I should have to pay Discord for. I don't think I should have to pay Discord to use emotes.
You have to pay to use. Oh, they're special. Those are super whatever. Yeah, they don't mean anything at the moment. I don't get it. Anywho, we'll start with your number 5 for time.
My number 5 game of the year, also not a game that came out in 2023, didn't come out in 2022, didn't come out in 2021.
Oh, is it?
He's an oldie.
Yeah,
he's a 2020 boy. Animal Crossing New Horizons. And that's just because this summer I pretty much stopped playing video games. But the one game I did play was, and I didn't even play like true Animal Crossing. I mean, I did a little, but I mostly played the DLC, which is like you can design island homes for the villagers, like, and like there's an infinite amount that you can do. And so you go to this villager and they're like, oh, I want something that includes lots of flowers. And then you can like design them like a flower house or whatever. And those were so relaxing to me because they were so bite-sized that like I could spend an hour and a half on a house or like 20 minutes on a house and then move on to a new one. So I really fell into a routine, and it was like my second top Nintendo game of the year. So it feels weird to include because it's a 2020 game, but it did dominate most of my summer.
Most of her game lists are going to be games that are not 2023. How many games on that list are 2023? I got
3.
3 of them?
3.
Okay, that's not as bad.
The majority is, you already know the other game that's not a 2023 game.
I know what it is. And it's your number 1.
Yeah. Yeah. I contemplated making my number 2 my number 1, but it felt so disingenuous when I have like 800 hours in my number 1, and like it was my number 1. You know how like this year PlayStation was like, here's your top game of January, your top game of February, March, April, May. Every single one of them was this number 1 game. So whatever. All right, let's talk about your number 5.
Yeah, my number 5. It was between 2. They're pretty neck and neck. And the only reason I'm sticking with this one is because the other is riddled in controversies, so I'm not going to bring it up.
Oh, I know one.
Yeah. The one I am picking, though, is Starfield, because I did put over 100 hours in that game. And here's my thing. Here's my thing with Starfield. It had a lot of problems. Starfield needed new ideas. It didn't deliver. It needed new types of missions, new engine, all that. It had a couple... I wasn't riddled with bugs like Skyrim and Fallout and all that is. I didn't have those issues. But it had issues. However, I am a shill for those games. I did rank it a 7.1. And I still stick with that. However, I enjoyed my time with it. I can't say I didn't enjoy my time with it. I put over 100 hours in it. It's a good time if you like Bethesda RPGs, which... I did. Bethesda was the first RPG that gave me what I felt was the ability of choice versus anything else. And having that again, having a new experience with that, it stuck with me. Is it perfect? No. Do I need something new? Absolutely. Bethesda, get it together. However, it still was a good time for what it was. Like, I will say that. No questions asked.
Yeah, fair enough. I can't even shame you because at least it was a game that came out this year.
All of mine are games that came out this year, so I had to double check for one of them.
Aren't. There were a lot of games where I was like, oh yeah, that's one of my favorite games. And then when I go check it, I was like, that didn't come out this year.
Note, I will say my number 3 knocked down the controversial game. My number 3 got knocked down to 4. My number 4 got knocked down to number 5. And controversial game got knocked out completely because of something that happened.
Intriguing. Okay.
Yes. So just when you get to number 3, we'll go there. But we're on your number 4.
My number 4. I had to question my number 4 spot because I was like, that feels like it should be higher for me, but no, it's accurate. Is Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Okay. Yeah.
Just I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was a nice bite size. I mean, obviously, if you want
She's gone again.
my full take on it, you can listen to the podcast episode we did on it. But I found it to be exactly what they promised us it would be. A return to the original format. It was fun. It was a perfect length. The world itself was beautiful. I always love the amount of history and detail they pour into the games. So definitely one of my top. It stayed number 4 because the other games I played this year, the 2 new games that I played this year were better than this. And for me, the story was very lackluster, but it was really nice. It was really nice just to get back into the groove of Assassin's Creed and kill people again. You know? Sometimes you gotta decorate houses.
People sounds less aggressive.
Sometimes you gotta decorate houses on an island paradise, and other times you gotta stab.
Go stab.
Duality of man. So that's me. One moment I was playing Animal Crossing New Horizons, and the next I was playing Assassin's Creed Mirage. I contain multitudes. Anyway, that's my number 4.
I think it's a good shot. I think it's a good pick. I almost picked it up the other day, and then I'm like, no, I'm going to wait for it to go on sale. I also almost picked up Syndicate the other day, and then I didn't. I didn't, because I needed a new Wiimote more than I needed Syndicate.
In what world does anyone need a new Wiimote in the year 2024?
Emily, it's pink.
All right. Criticism rescinded.
I'm not even... Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. I think it's in here. No, it's in the other room. Whatever. It is pink, and it has Wii Motion Plus built in, so it doesn't have that annoying piece at the end. So I picked it up.
Nice.
There was a Zelda one, too, but it was like $20 more, and I'm like, no. I'm not paying $20
Why does your
more.
shirt say Strawberry Girls with Ness?
Oh, it's a band. That's a band t-shirt.
Crap.
Huh?
A band is using Ness as their logo?
With a guitar. Yes.
And Nintendo hasn't banged down their door?
Well, because it's not their logo, it's just a shirt.
But it's their character.
They probably did get hit, but when you get hit, you can get rid of your inventory. I don't know that for sure, though, but my friend bought it for me, so I took it.
Oh, okay. That I had to think through that sentence you said.
That being said, I'm not a master of copyright law and all that. I do know Steamboat Willie is on the I always want to say the free market. He's on the what is it called? Public domain.
Public domain, that's it. So I wasn't going to be able to help you.
We are getting a Steamboat Willie.
2 Steamboat Willie horror movies. 2 were announced.
And a Steamboat Willie inspired, not with him, but like the art style, first-person shooter that actually looks incredible.
I like that. That's fun.
It looks so... It is an homage to Cuphead, but a first-person shooter. Like, it looks really good.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
What's your number 4?
Give me the number 4, which was previously my number 3. My number 4... shouts out Emily for letting me play this game. Marvel Spider-Man 2. Not Game of the Year.
Oh.
What?
I was like, what game did I let you play? What game did I suggest to you? And then I realized I bought that game for you, yeah.
Happy birthday to me. Did it deserve Game of the Year? Hell no. Y'all need to calm down. The reason it's not higher, because I enjoyed Spider-Man 2. I got the platinum. I did it all in a week. I had such a good time with it. It was one of the most fun gaming experiences this year. The problem is, it didn't do enough to change from 2018. The map opened up. It introduced the web wings. You had a couple new powers, but the combat was pretty much the same. Mission structure pretty much the same. With a couple of differences. Some mission, like some of the collectible things, once you get them all, you get a story cutscene at the end, which was a nice little touch. But most of the changes were minor. I don't call them big enough to make them 1 Game of the Year contender, 2 make them higher on my list, because once again, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it is a solid 9.2 out of 10. The problem is, what? What's so funny?
You never hear anyone say, oh yeah, that's a solid 9.2 out of 10.
You know what? Screw it. It's a 9.23 out of 10. But it was just more of the same. It was just more of the same. Which is
how did it lose that 0.07 of a point?
It was just more of the same.
Fair enough.
Once again, that's never a bad thing, but I don't think if you're doing the same thing again, it's not Game of the Year contender.
No, I think that's the reason Assassin's Creed Mirage was not considered for Game of the Year. It was a fun game, great even at points, and it gave people it's Assassin's Creed.
A lot of people didn't like that. Like I saw Mirage at least was 50-50. Some people loved it, some people hated it. But
Mirage?
yeah, Mirage.
When you have a big series like that that's had so many different and locations and gameplay styles, even, you know, like, yeah, there's like the assassinations, but like when you look at like Odyssey, Origins, Valhalla, like the gameplay mechanics, the story everything's just so different, and people want such different things. There are some people who are saying, you know, go back to the days of Assassin's Creed 1, and then there are other people saying, no, Assassin's Creed 1 was terrible, keep making games like Odyssey. And then people were like, no, Syndicate was the perfect game. And so
Emily says that.
I actually have found recently, in like the last couple weeks, a lot, and maybe this is just because I've been listening to more of the Besties podcast, but they all love Syndicate, and they're like, Syndicate's an incredible game. It's one of like the best Assassin's Creed game. I found my people, but yeah, you're never gonna find. Everyone wants something different out of a game series. You know, there's people who think Tears of the Kingdom was the perfect Zelda game, and then there are people who don't think it was the perfect Zelda game. So you know,
right, pointing the wrong way. Yeah, that one.
Different takes.
All right, give me your number 3.
So my 2 and 3 were hard to choose between. I had to meditate on it for a while. I had to do a lot of internal reflection. I had to think about the things I love and the person I want to be and what I want for my future. My number 3 was Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
The remake, obviously. I really warred putting this in my number 2 spot, but even with all the playthroughs I did of it, it didn't give me the number of game hours my number 2 gave me. And I'm forever burdened by the fact that I don't know if I'm ever going to get the platinum for it. But Resident Evil 4 Remake it's a masterpiece, quite honestly. It took a game that was already incredible, less incredible for the mechanics, I believe, but it made it perfect. It took out the parts of the game where the developers were like, you know what, people really hated that, and it wasn't fun, and we realize that now. And they made it more immersive, they made it scarier, they made it easier to play. The graphics are beautiful. I mean, it's the perfect horror shooter game, if that's something you're into. And honestly, I had a great time with it. So when I played the original Resident Evil 4 back in 2020 during the pandemic, I didn't care for it. Everyone was like, it's the perfect game. And I was like, it's impossible to play. Why am I jumping out of windows like this? Why is everything a quick time event? I had like a 5-hour session where I could not get past these minecarts because it was like 20 quick time events in a row. And if you missed one, you died and had to start over. I was like, this game is garbage. But I beat it slowly but surely. And it felt like a victory, but not a victory I enjoyed. This was an enjoyable victory. I enjoyed every moment of it in every playthrough.
Reminds me, I need you next time I see you to get me the platinum for RE7. Because I don't
Oh, I can do that. That's an easy one. There's like, I'm like 1 trophy away from like 3 Resident Evil platinums. That's because there's some that are like online trophies that suck, but that one I can get you. That's a pretty easy one.
Next time she comes to my house, we're going to have her do that. There's a couple platinums you and I are going to work on together for this platinum gauntlets, by the way. We have to do a way out. We have to do It Takes Two.
Okay.
There was another RE7.
You're gonna beat Kingdom Hearts.
Yep, I got to do Kingdom Hearts for you.
Critical mode, or at least beat Roxas. I think maybe I could do the rest, but
I have to re-platinum Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 on PS3.
No, you don't.
I do.
No, you really don't.
I saw the percentage of trophies I don't have. It's large. I want to shrink it, and I know I can do it. And I'm gonna do it.
All right, I want to believe in you. I want to support you, but this is like one of those. If you were saying this is my first time getting the Kingdom Hearts 2 platinum, I'd be like, yeah, it'll be a lot of time, but you should do it. You've done this, man. You've been down this hill. You know where this road ends. You know where it leads.
Though I will say this is a wonderful thing. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I just had to platinum it on PS4, and then I download the save data from PS4 to my PS5 version. Auto pops everything. That's 2 platinums for the price of 1. So
that's really satisfying. I hope when you open it up, it does 1 at a time, and you just get like this constant.
Now,
circle of trophies.
I did test it. So all the story ones already popped and a couple of the additional, but I still need like 7 or 8 trophies. So I'm still going to get that progressive, nice little bing.
I
bing.
like that. That's always very satisfying. Like when you get the last trophy you need and the last trophy you needed pops up and then the platinum pops up right after and you're like, yeah, got 2 trophies that time.
Moving on. My number 3. And I told Emily to play this. This is how much I loved it. And this might be a piece of recency bias. It may be because I'm sick, but it was so cozy. It wasn't like super hard to get into.
Oh, this was the one you just played.
Yeah. It knocked my number 3, 4, and it knocked 5 out. It knocked 3 and 4 down. And that is the little indie title that came out in July of this year. It's called Viewfinder. The whole thing about Viewfinder is that it is a puzzle game. It is a puzzle game where you have to manipulate environments in the sense that you have, you don't get it at the beginning. At one point, you get a camera. You take a picture of something, and then you can place that picture anywhere in the world, and like it just sits there, and you can jump on it and stuff like that. There are a lot of Easter eggs. There's a lot of cool things you can find. It was just so relaxing. The story's hella sad. I'll warn you.
I see a really fat cat.
Yes, Kate. His name is Kate, and we love him. The end of the game is hashtags. You can pet him. You pet him, and you get a trophy. Also, if you try to take a picture of him, you get a trophy. I platinumed the game. I beat the game in a day. I platinumed it the next day. It was so worth it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It looks fun. I'm looking at the trailer for it now. It does look very cute and cozy and fun. I think the $25 price feels a little high considering you platinumed it in a day.
Yes, so the only reason I went for it, I would wait for a sale. The only reason I did it is because Allison's brother got me a gift card for $25. So I only paid like $2 for taxes. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wait for a sale. It's probably cheaper on Steam, but why use Steam? You're back. You're here.
Everything's terrible.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, you're here.
Just everything's awful.
We need to. When was the last time you turned off your computer?
It's been a minute.
This could be part of the problem. Oops, I just hit my head on my. I'm trying this new microphone thing up here, so this is a new thing for me. So instead of
your cool kid podcast mic.
Yeah, it's the same mic I use for everything.
Yeah, but it's like the cool kids have them where they're like up here, you know?
Yeah, like this.
Yeah.
All right.
We're real podcasters now.
Let's move on to your number 2. And when we get to since you started our favorite games of the year, I'll start the upcoming, like what we're excited for games.
Sure.
All right, your number 2.
My number 2 is drumroll Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, called that. Spoiler alert, my number 2 is also Tears of the Kingdom. Yay!
Oh, great. This makes me really well for the both of us.
That's the only reason I said that.
It feels pretty symbolic of our feelings towards Tears of the Kingdom, more so mine maybe, that it's a new Zelda game, and it didn't make our number 1 game of the year for either of us.
I have reasons, but...
I have reasons too, bitch.
Yeah, but yours are a little bit more aggressive than mine.
I would say mine are more legit. Okay. I would say mine are through a critical lens of an artist and a reviewer and a podcaster who has to take the game she plays seriously, Blake.
Can you believe this slander? Go on with your review and then I'll do mine.
I mean, honestly, at this point, if people want our reviews of Tears of the Kingdom, we did 2 episodes on it, and we yelled about it a lot, and we talked about it a lot, and we had a lot of differing opinions and a lot of similar opinions. Tears of the Kingdom, it's a fun game. I mean, it's a sequel to Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was an incredible game. It didn't do a lot for me. I myself don't care for building things. It's never been something I cared about, and so that didn't really inspire me or bring me joy in the game. And so I just avoided it, quite honestly. But that was like the big mechanic. I found the Sky Islands disappointing. But I found the depths to be a lot of fun. Very interesting to explore.
Scary at first.
The world, not much changed in Hyrule, man. The story was pretty cookie cutter, quite honestly, and there were a lot of repeat cutscenes I had to watch over and over and over again that I didn't think we needed, but the beginning and the ending of the game are both 10 out of 10s. Incredible. The music, the scenes, the story, all
Gameplay's
of it.
still solid, too.
Gameplay's still solid. They added some cool new mechanics, some frustrating mechanics. Fusing is still weird. I think it's still weird that there's not a way to fuse an item to your weapon without first going into your inventory, clicking on it, holding in your hand, throwing it to the ground, going to fuse, and then fusing it to you. Like that shit. There's a lot of things that could have been smoothed out, but yeah, it was a fun game. This is a Zelda game. I like Zelda. It didn't live up to its potential though, so what can you do?
More positive note.
What you can do, Nintendo, is give me the controls next time and let you tell me what story you should have. Thank you.
It's okay, Em. You're gonna get your Wind Waker. I promise. I'm gonna fight for you. I'm gonna go fight John Nintendo himself and get you your
John.
Wind Waker.
I like that you think the man who controls Nintendo's name is John.
The reason it's my number 2. It was close. It was close to being number 1, but it kind of falls into the same issue that Spider-Man 2 did. While it had a lot more new, it still was more of the same. The story structure was the exact same, which, once again, more of the same. Not always a bad thing, except for in this case, every time you do one of the 5 points, it's the same story, like Emily already said, over and over and over again.
Wait, how do you get the memories in this one?
The what?
Oh, there's the glyphs. You have to find the glyphs.
Yeah.
I forgot. I found that less interesting than having to like look at a picture and try to figure out where that picture was taken.
I mean, absolutely, because you have to do less other than run around this giant glyph looking for the puddle for 20 minutes, but it's so hard to find, and there's always a rock with a Korok in it. Besides the point.
Yeah. It felt more interesting and more puzzle-like in the original. Anyway, continue.
Yes. It was more of the same. I did like Fuse. I did like Ultra Hand. Ultra Hand made things so much fun. I did like the fact that I could solve puzzles my way as opposed to like an intended way, which made it more open. However, in terms of the game itself, it was still a lot more of the same. It was not as bad as Spider-Man 2, but it was still a lot of the same. So that's why it fell at my number 2. I already know Emily knows my number 1, but I know her number 1. So we'll see what her number 1 is right now.
Guys, I have a secret to tell you, and I don't know if I know Blake's number 1.
If you don't know my number 1,
don't
you
tell
haven't
him.
been paying attention. Go ahead.
I'm gonna feel like a really bad friend. I just want to say that I think everyone knows what my number 1 is, and I was feeling pretty leading up to this podcast. I was feeling pretty bad about what my number 1 was because it wasn't very exciting or new, interesting.
Don't feel bad about it.
I had kind of fallen off. Anyway, my number 1 is Dreamlight Valley, but I had kind of fallen off of Dreamlight Valley in the last couple weeks. I was on a real high when the DLC came out, and then I just kind of faded. And so I was kind of like on Dreamlight Valley, and I was kind of on it being my number 1 game of the year. And so I was kind of hesitant to come in here and talk about it. And then I went to the Dreamlight Valley Twitter yesterday, and they were like, "We have this survey. Could you fill it out?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever, I guess." And I went on the survey, and they were like, "We're considering some new star paths. Please vote for 3." And I was like, "Oh, what star paths do we have here at Dreamlight Valley?" And they're like, well, "First, we have cottagecore. Do you want cottages? Do you want barns? Do you want to have farm animals?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I kind of want that Dreamlight Valley." And then they were like, "Also, we have magical. Do you want fairies and dragons?" And I was like, yeah, I wrote that too, Dreamlight Valley. And then I go, anyway, our third one, Greek mythology. Do you want Percy Jackson and the Olympians? Dreamlight Valley, you're gonna give me Percy Jackson? The year 2024? You're gonna give me Percy Jackson? And I stopped feeling guilty instantly. I turned Dreamlight Valley back on, finished my thing, and I was like, gotta get ready. Percy's coming. I'm gonna get a Camp Half-Blood shirt. I got farm animals that are coming into my life, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be the number 1 for 2024 too, ain't it?
Uh,
So anyway,
I'm gonna straight up tell you, this is why you should stick with Dreamlight Valley. It's gonna get way more and constant updates than Animal Crossing ever did and will.
you have such a vengeance against Animal Crossing. It's so funny.
I have
You
nothing
hate that game
against it.
so much
What
for
are
someone
you
who's
talking about?
every time I talk about Animal Crossing, you're like, Every time I'm like, I compare Dreamlight Valley to Animal Crossing, you're like, yeah, but Dreamlight Valley's better. And if I like, or I said something to you like a couple weeks ago where I was like, I think I'm falling off of Dreamlight Valley. I might go start playing some more Animal Crossing. And you're like, don't do it. Animal Crossing's not good.
Okay,
Dreamlight Valley's better. Don't go
that.
back to Animal Crossing. You said you were like, don't go back to Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Dreamlight Valley's better.
You know why, Em? You know why? Because every time, this is nothing against Animal Crossing. This is more against Nintendo. Because I did enjoy Animal Crossing. This is more about your own mental health. Because every time you play Animal Crossing, you're like, yeah, remember how this game had updates and then it fell off out of nowhere? It breaks your heart, Em, and I can't see you break yourself anymore.
It did do that. It did say we don't care about you anymore, and then it died.
Yeah.
After they were like, remember when you had the roost in every other Animal Crossing game? Our last update, what if we just give you the roost again?
And you have to pay for him.
In the base game. No, you don't have to pay for it. It was free.
Oh, it's the other stuff. Yeah, yeah.
The DLC was paid for, and I think that $30 was $30 well spent, because that's a whole other game that you can play till the end of time. But every update aside from like furniture stuff they added was like, remember how we had this in every other game? Well, you have it now.
Yeah, it's not that I hate Animal Crossing. I don't. I enjoyed it. I just hate seeing you get upset about Animal Crossing having no updates.
Listen, I thought about it the other day. We're like halfway through this Animal Crossing's life cycle.
Yeah.
I'm halfway to a new Animal Crossing, so I can make it. We're halfway there, man.
You might get one sooner if the Switch 2 comes out and they're like, hey, remember that Animal Crossing we came out with? That made us a lot of money. Let's do it again.
Yeah. I think they did really. I think Nintendo's going to orchestrate a second worldwide pandemic to try to like boost sales the way they did for the first one.
That's what blew up the Switch. I'll even say it. I think Animal Crossing did more sales than anything else for the Switch.
It did. But anyway, Animal Crossing was not my number one game of the year. Dreamlight Valley is my number one game of the year, and that's because I really enjoy decorating things and designing, and it's really peaceful for me, especially like if I'm have a show on in the background or something. It just brings peace and joy. And like the thing about Dreamlight Valley is even if you fall off of the game and you stop playing, you're like, I'm kind of bored of this. Like I said, I opened up their Twitter and they were like, here's a bunch of new things that we're going to do. And I was instantly excited again. Every 2 months, there's a new character. And it's usually not just a new character. Usually they have some, like, major quality of life changes. Some, like, other new things that are going on. There's a new star path. And so every, like, 2 months, like clockwork, I start to fall off of it again. And then they throw me right back in it. So...
it's understandable, and I commend you for it. I applaud you. I think it's a good, solid choice, especially how many hours. I'll never have that many hours in Dreamlight Valley. I like Dreamlight Valley. I will never have that many.
You don't design. Sometimes I'll just spend like 5 hours and be like, I've created a masterpiece. And then the next day when I look at it, I'm like, I hate it. And then I tear it all down and spend another 5 hours making a new masterpiece.
Do you know why, Em? Because every time I do it, I'm like, I want to redo my room. And that's what I did. I completely redid my room because of all the doing it. And I'm like, shit. Now I gotta finish. I'm not even finished redoing my room. So.
I put up wallpaper in my room 2 weeks ago, and I still haven't done the last strip of it. So that's who we are. It's the kind of people we are today.
Anyways, I'm gonna give you one guess for my number one.
You're gonna tell me your number one, and I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, that was really stupid. But first, okay, just give me a minute. Give me a minute.
I'm gonna give you my honorable mention while you do that.
Oh, I'm stupid. It's Mario Wonder.
Yeah, honorable mention is Super Mario RPG. That's an honorable mention. Didn't make the top 5. But yeah, Super Mario Wonder, man. Okay, no, the fact that you didn't know that right off the bat, that's sad.
You know, that game had such little impression on me, and you didn't play it for very long. Like, you beat it very quickly, and then you, like, talked about it when we talked about Game of the Year stuff.
Yeah, you know why we didn't talk about it that much? Because it wasn't for you. I let it go.
I know. I'm just saying, like, that's probably why I didn't think about it as much, because it came out semi-recently, so it hasn't had as much time to talk about. And you weren't playing it for it's not like, you know, like Baldur's Gate, where if you played it over the period of, like, 500 hours, or even, like, had a lot, you just really loved it. There wasn't a lot of, like, discussion that went into it, because it was just, like, really, whereas Tears
Yeah.
of the Kingdom, we had a lot of criticism for it too.
Now Mario Wonder, I have 40 hours in. I do have 40 hours in it, so I put a good chunk of time into it. I feel.
Yeah. So you put the amount of time in that you needed to beat it, but like I obviously didn't watch those streams.
Oh, the
I
time to
watched
beat
part
it.
of them.
The time to beat it, not all the levels, but the main story was only about 14, 15 hours, which is solid. I like that length of a game.
So you're just unhinged. Then.
Oh no, there's the star power path levels. The every 2D Mario game up from Super Mario World on has the bonus super hard levels. So, and all of them were easy until that last one that took forever. Plus 100%ing everything to get it. Besides the point.
It's a lot of work.
Let's talk about Mario Wonder. Because
Yeah.
I mentioned a lot of my games before saying there's a lot of the same. This game was not a lot of the same. And the people who say that it's just another 2D Mario game haven't played this Mario game. Because here's the thing. And this is probably because since the DS, I'm going all the way back to 2007, 2008, whenever this game came out.
Wow, that's a long way back to go.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to take that journey?
We're going to, because it's not going to
We'll
take
feel
long.
old at the end of it.
We got new Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo DS. Was a new type of 2D Mario game. Exciting! Then we got new Super Mario Bros. Wii. Exciting, because now it's on the big screen. Then we got new Super Mario Bros. 2 for the 3DS. Okay, cool. I guess we're going on this train. Whatever. It's a 3DS title. I'll let it go. New Super Mario Bros. U. Great, Wii U version. New Super.
We love it.
New Super Luigi Bros. U. It's the same game, but kind of backwards.
But we support Luigi and his rights to be the leader for once.
And then
at least I do.
We got to the Switch. I'm like, they have to do something new. And you know what they did? They re-released New Super Mario Bros. U and Luigi U on one cart. And I'm like, I can't play another.
But they did that for all the Mario games.
Huh?
I froze again.
It's not not in the same vein. The reason I say that is because the Wii U didn't sell well, and they ported everything from the Wii U to the Switch because those games on the Wii U.
Except for Wind Waker HD.
Yes, except for Wind Waker HD. And I couldn't play more new soups. And I think that's why I loved Mario Maker 1 and 2 so much, is because I got to not just have to play those games. I got to play old styles and new levels and whatever, and had a great time. But then I get to Mario Wonder, and Mario Wonder finally felt like a breath of fresh air. The art style is completely different. Every animation, I talked about this in my review before, every animation is just a breath of fresh air. The Wonder Seeds are such a good time. I'm sorry, the Wonder Flowers that change the stage. It's so much fun that I can do the level normally, or I can just change it up in the middle of it and have some more fun. There's secret exits, there's secret things to do. There was just a lot to do, and I had a blast. And I loved that game so much. There was so much wonder.
There was wonder in Mario Wonder?
Crazy.
That's crazy, man.
And when we get Mario Maker 3, if they put the Mario Wonder Builder in there, I'm going to be stoked. I'm going to be stoked for it. So yeah.
I will be stoked for you.
Cool. I guess this is going to be a little bit of a longer episode, but I think that's warranted given.
I think that's fair. We've been gone a while.
Yeah, we have. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into our other list. This is our most anticipated games for 2024. I'll start this one off. My number 5 is Peach Showtime, because, oh my god, it looks so charming. Apparently, it's multiple different game types in one. It's you're going to have like a detective type game in one portion of it. You're going to have a platformer in one type portion of it. You're going to have a fighting game. It's going to be a whole mix of different things, depending on Peach's outfit and the different stages. I think it's going to be a blast. And finally, Peach is not the damsel in distress, so I'm stoked. It looks really cute and charming.
That was actually my number 4.
Oh.
So I'm just going to talk about it. Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. It looks really cute. I love when Mario is quirky and witty. It gives me not Paper Mario vibes in the way it looks, but Paper Mario vibes in the way it feels. Like, it's just going to be a fun time. It's going to be witty. It's going to be interesting. I do love that you get to play as Peach. I do love that she gets to have all these different outfits and, like you said, different game types. That's going to keep it interesting. You know, I'm not a huge Mario player, mostly because like the platforming ones, but this looks like it's going to keep it interesting. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. All right. What's your number 5 then?
So my number 5 is weird. because it's not one game, it's a lot of games. But pretty much just there's a lot of horror games that I play that are getting their next like a lot of horror games are released in like pieces, like chapters. And so there's a lot of horror games that like their next chapter or final chapter is coming out. So Poppy's Playtime is getting its next chapter. It's supposed to get it late this year, but it's getting it late last year. It's getting it early this year. Dark Deception is finally supposed to have chapter 5 released this year. And there's some indie horror games and stuff like that that are upcoming that I'm pretty excited for. But none of those, like, a chapter didn't feel like it warranted us. So there's just, like, a lot of horror stuff and indie horror stuff that's upcoming and new chapters that I'm really excited about.
I forgot to tell you, I went to a game store the other day. They had a physical copy of one of those horror games you played on stream. I can't remember which one.
Physical copy of Madison?
It was not Madison, I don't think.
I don't. Madison's the biggest one. That's the one I feel like would get a physical release.
There was one you platinumed, and I think it was like a girl crying in another room.
Home Sweet Home?
No.
I platinumed it, and there was a girl crying in another room.
Maybe
you give me any.
Think of the platinums you got.
Layers of Fear.
That's it. The Layers of Fear. There was a physical Layers of Fear.
They've had Layers of Fear physical for like that came out like 10 years ago.
It's $195.
That's because they just came out with a remake for it too. That's Layers of Fears.
Yeah.
That's like the DLC, the second one, the first one, but like the first one has more stuff with it combined.
Well, this was a PS4. This was a PS4 card.
Yeah, so that was probably the original one.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, it was a lot. Well, let's jump to my number 4 then. My number 4. Okay. If anyone remembers it, they finally brought it up again after we saw it in 2022 and heard nothing. But we now know for a fact Stellar Blade is coming out in 2024, sorry. That was the game on the PlayStation Showcase M, where the entire time, to be fair, in that first trailer, it was there was a lot of boobies jumping around. Okay, I don't know if you remember that at all.
I have no memory of this trailer or what this is. What was it called?
Stellar Blade. We only got like a few trailers, and then we went radio silent. It's been a while, but it looked, after like later trailers, it looked really cool. Like the action looks really, really good.
Oh yeah,
she remembers now. Watching
this was real booby.
Yeah, but watching newer trailers, the action looks really good. It's a very fast-paced action RPG, which I love those. I love fast-paced action RPGs. We finally got an announcement for 2024 after it was supposed to be 2023, but once again, we heard nothing. We're getting it 2024.
Pretty.
Yeah, it's going to look like phenomenal. It looks phenomenal. I think it's going to be great. I have mid expectations though, because I had high expectations for Forspoken. Did not buy it after reading the reviews. I did buy it the other day because it was on sale for $20 versus $70. So I picked it up. And I'm going to play it now that I got it for cheap, but I'm going to keep my expectations at a middle level so I'm not disappointed.
Fair. I think that's a smart way to go about it. I think you should approach that anytime you're playing a game with lots of boobies in the trailer.
Yes.
Where you're like, for one trailer. So yeah. I support this for you. It does look, I mean, like, the graphics look really pretty, though. The two girls are both very cute and very aesthetic.
I mean,
I have no idea what kind of gameplay it is.
It's action RPG. It's hack and slash.
Oh, okay.
But fast-paced.
Fast-paced hack and slash. Not like those slow.
Not like Kingdom Hearts 1.
Do you call that a slow-paced hack and slash?
It's a hack and slash. It's an RPG hack and slash. That's why I call it action RPG. You hit and you move on. Okay.
Fair enough.
Now you already did your number 4, so I'll.
Yeah. So go to your number. Yeah, just go to your number 3.
I think this is on your list too. I just don't know where. I'm actually 99% sure this is on your list. I just don't know where. 1,000-Year Door.
Dude, great. Love this for
That's
us.
your what?
My number 3 too.
Yeah, let's go. All right, cool. What else is there to say? It's one of the greatest games on the GameCube ever created. I'm getting it on the Switch, remade. I'm stoked.
For sure.
I'm so excited.
Looks beautiful. And like, my one thing was like, obviously we both despised Origami King. But the one thing Origami King did have going for it was so beautiful. Like the art style that they went for, I loved that the environments, like they really emphasized that they were made out of paper. Mm-hmm. and it looks like the Thousand Year remake is Thousand Year Door is really it's really gonna emulate Origami King's style, and it's just gonna. I mean, like the game never looked bad, but I think it's gonna look really pretty, and I think it's gonna be a lot. Also, it's just an incredible game, and I love Paper Mario, so yeah, I did, and like. Big fan of any old game getting brought to new systems because it increases accessibility. So that's exciting.
Stoked. All right. Well, we both knocked out on number 3. I knew we were going to have overlap. We've had 2 overlaps so far.
2 will overlap.
Huh?
I don't think our next 2 will overlap.
One of them should. But maybe not. Maybe you don't care about it. Maybe you don't care about my number 1.
Maybe you're going to drop something I forgot about?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
What's your number 2?
My number 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah, that's not on my list, bud.
That one I'm not expecting to be. The number 1 I am expecting to be. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is, of course, a continuation of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think the reason I'm most stoked about this is you have the Final Fantasy VII base story that we got on PS1. Everybody knows it. Everybody loves it.
Yeah.
Remake at first looked like it was just a 3D remake, and then you could tell Nomura's being Nomura. There are massive changes, and the story is going to completely change. It's not going to be the same story as our normal Final Fantasy VII that we got back in the 90s. And Rebirth, I think, is going to push that even further. We're going to have a lot of the same old bosses like we did in Remake. I think we're going to have some of the same situations, but things are going to start to hardcore shift away from the main Final Fantasy VII story. I'm very interested to see what Nomura does with it. But then again, Nomura being Nomuraing, and, you know, you Norda boy, and things get complicated.
You Norda boy.
I showed my brother...
You did, just like one does.
I showed my brother the Kirby video and the Sonic video the other day. He lost it.
Show him the Kingdom Hearts video. You Norda boy.
He hasn't finished Kingdom Hearts 3, so I'm waiting until he plays Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm letting him borrow my PS4 for that.
But I do really like the tradition now that's kind of forming, and I think Resident Evil 4 did this too, of like developers remaking a game and then being like, you know what? That was bad. Yeah. Let's get rid of it. Well, or like, you know, we should have had something else here. Let's add it. Instead of doing like this 1-for-1. Sorry.
Bless you.
This like mostly 1-for-1 to be like, oh, the original was perfect. We can't touch it or change it. And anyway, I do that like that. It's like an opportunity to do something new with it.
Well, what even further, like, no one thinks the Final Fantasy VII original game has got a bad story or bad anything. I think Nomura just really was given this project. It's like, yeah, I'll do it, but it's going to be what I want. And for once, I'm fine with that. For once, that, like you said, I'm getting something new out of something I love. And that excites the hell out of me. So
yeah, it had to be, like, bad or, like, the story was bad. Like, Resident Evil 4, again, was considered one of the perfect... But, like... There were some boss sections, or like there's one area where like you're in a hanging cage and you have to get to these 3 separate sections that they completely cut out. I actually think they moved it to the DLC.
Yeah.
But like just some stuff where they're like, oh, we could have made this better, or maybe this boss fight wasn't as necessary as we thought it was, or like changed the style of something. That I'm really liking that trend in remakes to be like, we can make this better.
Our own thing.
And I think there's a lot of pressure from people who like originals to be like, don't touch it, don't mess with it, don't change it, he's perfect. You know, a lot of people for a long time didn't want Resident Evil 4 to be remade at all because they said it was the perfect game, that couldn't be improved upon, and it would just ruin it with whatever they did. And then it was hailed as, I mean, it almost made Game of the Year, right? Like,
yeah,
everyone was playing it. So I think there's maybe too much pressure sometimes to keep it exactly as is and, like, make the fans happy, when I think it's really an opportunity to improve. And I think it's also an opportunity for creators who were limited by technology and what was available to them at the time to be like, this was what we had in our minds.
We lost her. Please hold. She's frozen. Oh, she's back. We got her. She's back.
I quit. It's over.
No, Em, stop that. It doesn't help with your audio. Come back.
What do you mean it doesn't help with my audio?
That's not going to free... You will still freeze, whether your face is on or not.
Yeah, but then you won't see me. You won't see me freezing. All right, fine.
Put your face on. And give me...
Fine.
Give me your number 2.
Give me your number 2. People can see me. Oh, wait. I didn't have to hit the actual turn on camera button. Guess that might help. My number 2... I see, this is the one I don't think is on your list. Silent Hill 2 remake.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not on my list.
Yeah, that's why we like, no, our lists are going to be the same. Maybe my number one is on your list, but I didn't think it would be. Anyway, the Silent Hill 2 remake, I wanted to play the Silent Hill games for a long time. They're horror classics. They're Kojima. Need I say more? But they're really old games, and I know myself, y'all, and I know this is a red flag. I don't like old, ugly games, and they're really usually hard to play, i.e. Resident Evil 4. Same time period. And so I don't think I have the consoles to play most of them on unless they've been brought to the PlayStation, in which case I just haven't done it. So I'm really excited because it looks really good. It will finally be my chance to get into the Silent Hill series. I love a well-made horror game, a good-looking horror game. So it kind of is checking all those boxes for me.
Here's what I'm excited for, and because we're gonna be friends for like our rest of our lives. I don't expect us to ever.
Yeah, you were about to like put a number on it. And you'd be like, we're gonna be friends for like the next like 10 minutes. So like. I'll see you later, I guess.
Talk to you again. No, we're gonna be friends the rest of our lives. I can't wait till we're at like the PS9 in 20 years in the future, and you're gonna be like, "Yeah, I can't look at these PS5 games. They look hideous." Right now, you can't imagine it.
I probably will. And like if I go back to a game I played at the time, like. Ocarina of Time or something, I don't think it's ugly. I can see, its issues, but I'm not like, oh, this is unplayable, it's ugly. But then you hand me a game from like 2004 and I'm like, what is this garbage?
I can't say much because I can't go back to older controllers because I'm trying to replay my PS3. Compared to the PS4 and the PS5, that thing sucks. I think it's awful.
Rough going backwards.
But when I first got it, I'm like, yeah, this is better than the PS2 controller. And now I'm like, oh,
it's not. It's bad. It's rough going backwards in time in games. And I think like maybe it's just like the hyper realistic of like obviously Silent Hill and Resident Evil 4 were trying to look very realistic, where I think it kind of falls short for me. Whereas, something like Wind Waker, obviously that's not looking realistic, so that feels a little more timeless to me, where I'm like, oh yeah, it's just a cute little cartoon.
It just depends game to game, I think. I will say, if we're talking about realism, 50 Cent Reload? Or Bulletproof. 50 Cent Bulletproof on the PS2, rough. Very difficult to play. Also just a bad game in general, but...
It's always real humbling to go back to old games and be like, oh wow, that was so strong. I did this. I played this like this. It looked like this, and this controller felt like this, and I still played the video game. That was really good of me.
That's how I feel about Final Fantasy X. And Kingdom Hearts 1 on the PS2. But
that's how I feel about the first... how I feel about the Ezio trilogy, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Where I'll go back to the first Ezio game, and I'll be like, oh, he just jumps off roofs? Like, you don't have to hit the button for him to jump off the roof. He'll just do it for funsies.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love that for me. He looked like that. And then sometimes, I don't know if you've ever seen the Ezio eyes or like Connor does these, where he's like, oh my, I played this? He looked like this?
Let's move on to number 1, and then we'll go to After Party.
I'm so eager to hear what your number 1 is.
We're moving to number 1, and then we have a huge announcement. So
we do. So don't leave.
I hope you're still here. I hope you're still here for this huge announcement. And then we'll do Emily's. We'll
so eager to hear your number 1 because you think it's on my list, but I don't think my number 1 is on your list.
Here's the thing: when we initially brought up this topic, we both mentioned this game. We both mentioned it, and I think you forgot about it, which is sad because it comes out in 3 weeks. Persona 3 Reload comes out.
Oh, I didn't forget about it.
Yeah, Persona 3 Reload. Huh?
I said I thought about putting it on my list, but then I remembered that I haven't actually even beaten Persona 4 yet, nor played more of it. So I was like, what's the likelihood I'm going to play this anytime soon?
Persona 3 Reload is the remake of the classic Persona 3 from the PS2 era. We did get Persona 3 Portable moved to the PS4, but that's the PSP game. I don't want to play a PSP game.
Who does?
I've tried to play Persona 3 in the past. It's hard. And that's mainly because in Persona 4 and Persona 5, you can control everybody. In Persona 3, you control yourself and your party members.
I forgot that was a bad thing. I forgot that was a thing.
Yep, Persona 3, the party members controlled themselves.
Why would I want that? Well, I don't trust them.
They fixed it.
They're stupid.
They fixed it. Like, you can now control everybody. So it's great. And I'm
Great,
stoked
I
because
love
now I
that.
can finally experience that story. The only thing I'm upset about is, Persona 5 has the Royal where they added the extra chapter. Persona 4 has the
That,
Golden where they introduced the extra chapter. Persona 3
yeah,
has something called FES, where it introduces, once again, a new chapter, which I had the PS2 version of. The problem is they did not
sure.
include that in the remake. And I kind of I'm really bummed about that.
Is that
Also,
where you play as a girl?
no, so Persona 3 Portable, P3P, you play as a girl. That's another thing
So
they didn't bring
can I
over.
play as the girl in the
They,
remake?
they didn't bring it over, which
This
is
is sexist nonsense. Is this because you can date a 10-year-old as that girl?
I don't
Listen,
I
just
know
get rid of
nothing
that.
about
Just
that, to
get
be
rid of that
honest.
romance. I looked it up and was talking to my friends about the other day. Even you could date a 10-year-old, and his name is Ken. Why did they do that? Japan, why? But
Because your character's like 15, 16, so it's even weirder.
I'm excited for this remake, and I think I will play it. I was thinking, like I said, I was thinking about putting it on my list, but it was more just like, oh man, I still have to get through all of Persona 4 Golden, and I haven't done that. And so then I was like, well, what are the odds I'm going to take on a new Persona game
To be
when I still
fair,
have this one to beat?
I got you Persona 4 Golden on Steam. Play it on PS4 if you want to, or PS5 if you want to. Get the PS5 version.
I'm not playing good at playing games on my PC.
I know, which is why I'm saying if you want to play it on your console, do it. Because I get that. I get that to a degree.
I probably will.
Man, there is a lot of comments I want to respond to, but I have to wait till the after party. My God.
Well, we're almost there.
Okay, let's stick with your number one.
I think this one's gonna surprise people. It surprised me when I thought about it. But I think this is the game I'm most excited to see what they're gonna do with it and where it's gonna go. And so we don't have a ton of information about it. But it's AC Codename Red, which is the Assassin's Creed game set in Japan.
Yep.
Which is supposed to be more in the style of Valhalla, Odyssey, and Origins. So it's gonna be that. I don't know if it's gonna be basically Ghost of Tsushima or if what time period they're gonna go for or how it's gonna work. So I think that one was my number one, mostly just because of intrigue. Obviously, I love Assassin's Creed games, love Japan, but it's got hefty shoes to fill. Like Ghost of Tsushima did it already, and it did it pretty much perfectly. There's very few things about Ghost of Tsushima I would change, if any. So it's kind of like, what can you offer me at this point, Ubisoft? But also, what can you offer me? Because if you got something good over there, I want it.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing I'm afraid of, and this is what I call the Ubisoft repetition. Okay.
Sure.
You got Assassin's Creed 2, right?
Yeah.
And we got a lot of the same for a while until people stopped wanting it anymore. Right, so then they finally made something new with Assassin's Creed Origins. Then we got a lot of the same with the same formula, and then they realized, okay, people want to go back. So they find something that works, but then they don't do anything to innovate. They did the same thing with Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 is one of the greatest games on the PS3. I think it's one of the few first-person RPGs that I actually like. Far Cry 3. But now every Far Cry after that, 4, 5, 6, they're all the same game with just a different story and a different coat of paint. The only fear I have is we're going to get another Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla.
So here's the thing. It's kind of meant to be that at a certain point. Obviously, Assassin's Creed is it's not something like Persona where you can be like, oh, it's just a turn-based game style, and then you can do with the story and anything else that you will. It's very specific, right? You have to deal with this assassin brotherhood, and there's certain laws and rules and things like that. And I agree, they definitely haven't been as innovative as possible. But I mean, I would say changing from what they were doing to the Odyssey Origins Valhalla was changing it, mixing it up.
Okay.
And then they did get mixed feedback. I think all this is listening. So they got the feedback. People really did like that. They got the different genders that you could play as. And then, obviously, people started getting sick of that. People wanted the old style. People wanted the new style. Which is where this comes in. Because this is part of Ubisoft's bigger plan. So essentially, Mirage was released to appease the people who said they wanted the old style games, right?
Right.
Codename Red is meant to appease the people who wanted the Origin Odyssey style game. And then from here, once these two games are released, they're apparently shaking up. So what's going to come after that is going to be Codename Het, which is about the witch trials in Germany. And supposedly that is supposed to be darker. It's supposed to be grittier. The gameplay style is going to be different. That's supposed to be its own new thing. So I think you're right. I don't think Codename Red is going to shake anything up. I think it is going to be another Valhalla, Odyssey, Origins, but I enjoy those. I mean, like, truly, at the end of the day, Ghost of Tsushima is one of my top 10 games of all time, but truly, what is Ghost of Tsushima if not
I think
Assassin's Creed in Japan?
I think I'm only skeptical because of the things you told me about what the Assassin's Creed directors have said about Japan, and then they saw that Ghost of Tsushima did it, and they're like, oh, that made money? We can make money? And
it's
then,
BS for sure.
Yeah.
It's BS for sure. I mean, they should have
Hold on.
done it a long time ago. But to be fair, that was a comment made by one man, like, over a decade ago. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm excited for it because I love Assassin's Creed. I love Japan. I love Ghost of Tsushima. So theoretically, I'll always take more of that. But yeah, again, it's got to live up to Ghost of Tsushima. They're really just... And I mean, that only hurt themselves, right? Like, they have to follow in what Ghost of Tsushima has already done and done perfectly. And they set themselves up for this. So if it's not as good as Ghost of Tsushima, that's their own fault. So I'm excited to see what they bring. It could be really good. It could be really bad. But it's just one of those titles where I'm like, I'm going to play it, and I think I'm going to really like it. But I don't know what's going to entail yet. Hopefully a better story than Mirage. But maybe not. Because I really like the story in Odyssey. Odyssey had a great story that I loved.
And I'm loving Odyssey as I'm going through it. Very slowly, but I'm going through it, I promise.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Now, at the end of the podcast, we have one big announcement. We regret...
I already forgot what it was, but I remember.
Yeah, we regret to inform you that this will be the final I Call Yoshi podcast ever. Forever. No more I Call Yoshi. And the reason for that is we got a new name, baby. We're now Pod Station 64.
Did you have to think about it for a second? Did you have to think about what our new name was?
No. I just clicked the button. I went to click the button. It's now showing our new title.
I see. Look at our beautiful. I really do like our new design.
Yeah. So I Call Yoshi, after this episode is officially dead, this is the last I Call Yoshi podcast. We are now Pod Station 64, starting in 2 weeks.
Because we didn't want Nintendo to sue us.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Sue us over the number 64? They can't. It's a number.
Fight me, Nintendo. You can't own 64. It's like how Monster Energy Drink tries to sue anything with the name Monster in it.
Yeah, they can't.
They can't. They've been coming after a lot of indie horror games for using the word monster and have had to go to like court, and they've had to be like, you don't own the word monster. You can't do that. It is we do like the name change. We do like the design. We're excited about it.
Yeah, we thought about it, and after hearing from my brother and other people, like, eventually, if this does take off like we want, Nintendo will come for us. We don't want that. This will be a better name. It'll be a better tone. Further, one big announcement, and we've said this before, we are one follower away from 50, and if we hit 50, then we're going to go on a sprint to get affiliate by streaming games on this channel occasionally.
That will happen.
So, call your friends, I guess. But
tell them that we're changing our name. It's going to be really exciting. I am excited about the new look. Quite honestly, the I Call Yoshi, when we created the name and when I created the logo, I really loved it at the time. And in like however many months we've been doing this, I'm like, I don't like this anymore.
Yeah, it was time for something new. I don't think we'll get sick of this one either.
I hope not.
Though any followers or anything like that, the faces will still pop up with the thank you. So any like alerts that come up, you'll still see the thank you with our faces on it. So, well, there we go. That's Applied Science with his separate account became our 50th follower. We are in line for affiliate. Okay, we're not affiliate yet, obviously. We got
to stream more.
Yeah, we have some work to do, but we're going to push for it, which means we have to have bigger conversations about how to do things later, but we'll talk about that later. But, okay, on that note, I think this is a good place to say we're going to the after party. So if you're on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe. We also are close to 50 subscribers on YouTube, so please subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. Come follow us on Twitch if you want to see this live, and then join the after party live where we talk with you guys. All these episodes go up on YouTube every other Friday. They're live on Twitch every other Wednesday. So the next time we'll be live. I know this is a Thursday today, but extraneous circumstances. Next time we'll be
A lot going on.
It's been stressful. January 17th will be the first official Pod Station 64 show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. So can't wait to see y'all there.
I'll have a less gray room, I promise. And I promise Blake won't be zoomed in so close to my face.
Mine feels like it's been blurry this whole time. Like the entire time I've noticed, like my camera has felt blurry and it's never felt like this. This camera's 8 years old. It might be time.
There's just a lot happening. I feel very blurry and pixelated. Everything's terrible.
On that note, make sure if you're on YouTube, click the links below. You can find our individualized channels and our group channel. If you're trying to find us on YouTube, it's still I Call Yoshi. But as of Saturday, this weekend some point, is when everything on YouTube and Twitch...
Oh, awesome.
What?
I froze again.
Oh,
it's a lot of fun.
Everything will change. All the names will change. So if you're looking for I Call Yoshi Pod after this weekend, it won't be there. It will be gone. So sorry. On that note...
Sorry, we're excited about it. This is better.
This is going to be a whole new world. New everything. So, that being said, all right, bye, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night. We're going to after party. Bye!